look at yourself, you wanna just break down. They say you're not a part of their crowd.
Welcome to Kids Are Chefs on the Old Fashioned Health Network. Today, we have two chefs here with us, and we have a special guest chef. So on Kids Are Chef, we usually cook a great meal, and we have a great topic. But first, I'm gonna introduce you to my two chefs. And my first chef is, what's your name?
Leah.
Leah. Okay, and how old are you?
9.
9, okay. And where do you go to school?
Kennesaw Charter, Science and Math Academy.
Okay. Can you cook?
I can.
Can you burn?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay. All right, all right. And what's your name?
Christopher.
Christopher. Okay, and how old are you?
10. Just turned 10 yesterday.
Okay, and where do you go to school?
Kennesaw Charter, Science and Math Academy.
Now, I know you're not shy because you was talking about your sports team and everything a while ago, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not shy, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you ain't shy. Mm-hmm. Can you cook? Mm-hmm. Can you cook good?
Yes, sir.
Can you cook as good as she can?
Sometimes.
Some certain stuff. Okay, all right. She said, no, you can't. All right, so listen, we're gonna also introduce our special guest chef, and that will be Officer Carlos of the Atlanta Police Department. Officer Carlos, come on.
Thank you for the
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out.
How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let Officer Carlos take over the shift here. He's gonna run the thing and give us a meal and a topic. So let me ask you something. What's the meal for today?
Well, I thought we would make some chicken and cheese quesadillas. How does that sound to you guys? Sounds pretty good? All right, good.
And what's your topic gonna be about?
And we're gonna talk about bullying today, since that seems to be a big topic everywhere in the news. And we want to make sure that none of us are victims of bullying and that none of our friends are too.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna take a break here, and then when you come back, we're gonna turn it over to Officer Carlos and our two chefs. We'll be back.
Well, welcome back to Kids Are Chefs. Now we're going to get the most fun part of cooking, which is the cooking itself. So you guys ready to start making the chicken and cheese quesadillas?
Yep.
All right, so our first step is we're going to need the chicken. So if you guys want to share, we're going to take about half for you and half for you. You guys have these cutting boards right here. We want to take the chicken and make sure we get some nice small pieces because we don't want the pieces to be too big inside the quesadilla. Also, to cook a little bit faster if they're nice and small. So now we're going to go and slice the chicken. And when we slice the chicken, we want to make sure we get some small pieces because we don't want it to be too big inside of our quesadilla. Plus, it'll be nice to cook when they're nice a little bit smaller too. Because the larger the piece of chicken is, the more heat it needs to get to the inside to make sure everything's cooked evenly. And once we get these small pieces, we'll be putting them on the pan, and we'll put some seasoning on there to make sure we get some flavor for our chicken.
Sounds good.
Do you guys like making desserts more than, say, like regular dinner, or? So my sister, she's a professional chef, and she loves making desserts. That's her thing. Cakes and cookies and you name it. What about you? What do you like making at home?
Hot dogs and cupcakes, whatever.
So you guys both like desserts, don't you? Have you started using the grill yet for the hot dogs?
I use the microwave.
The microwave?
Yeah.
Hey, you can't go wrong with that, that's for sure. So now that we've cut the chicken, before we start touching anything else, we want to make sure we wash our hands. Because anytime we touch raw chicken and we try and touch something else, we have the risk of possibly taking salmonella from the chicken into our food, and we want to get sick. So let's go ahead and wash our hands real quick and make sure we get ready for our next step. We always want to make sure we put it on here before we turn the stove on. Because if we put it on when the stove's on, it can catch on fire. So I always want to make sure we're safe when we're doing that too. So you want to make sure. The chicken on there. So what do you take the spatula with the seasoning? You're going to take the seasoning, you're going to put it over the chicken, and then you're going to spread it out to make sure the chicken cooks separately so that it doesn't cook in a clump, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, you can put it over all the chicken. There you go. And then with your spatula, we're going to go in and we're going to mix the chicken, make sure it's evenly coated with the seasoning, and we spread it out some so it doesn't cook as a clump, okay?
Okay.
You look at it like a pro cooking this now. So once you feel the chicken's pretty much been covered up, you're gonna let it cook for a little bit, and then you can kind of move it around to make sure the other side is cooked, okay?
Okay. This is gonna be good. It looks good so far. Yeah, this is barely pink. This might not be pink, but I'm gonna see.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take one tortilla each, and I'm gonna hand this to you. Then I'm gonna turn the stove back on. We're gonna make sure the tortilla gets nice and warm, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the cheese on top. And we're gonna let the cheese melt just a little bit, and then we'll put the chicken on. And when the cheese and the chicken are on there, we'll add some more cheese, let it melt a little bit. And as the cheese really melts, we'll take another tortilla and put it on top. Make sure that it, don't be afraid to use a lot of cheese, because that's really what's gonna make the quesadilla come together nice and tight, okay? And once it's melted and come together, we'll flip it over, make sure the other side is, nice and crisp and a little bit warm, and then we'll be ready to go. How's that sound? Good? All right, let's open.
Just a little bit more. It's on the outside.
Don't be afraid to use cheese. Put it on. It doesn't feel like it's going to come off real easily.
Like when I lift the tortilla?
Yes.
Sort of?
It's not really melting yet.
Not really.
Okay. When it gets to that point, then we're just going to flip it over. And at that point in time, it'll pretty much almost, basically be done.
I might need your help on flipping it over.
No worries. I don't want you guys to have it spill all over the place. How's yours coming along?
Great.
How does it feel when you try and lift the tortilla? Let me see. Is it kind of, you feel a little bit like it's getting there?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah. It's melting.
It's melting? Well, that's exactly what we want it to do. Nothing goes well with good food like a good conversation. So I think today we should talk about bullying. Do you guys know what bullying is?
Yes.
What's bullying?
Like, it's like when someone constantly picks on someone else.
Mm-hmm. No, wait, what does that typically do to somebody?
It hurts their feelings, makes them feel bad.
Have you guys ever seen anyone been bullied at among your own friends at school or elsewhere?
Yeah.
No? You have? What type of bullying did you see?
Like, it was like one of my friends, it was two of my friends.
It was two of your friends? What happened?
When, he was like, it was last year, he was like pushing him around and stuff like that, like almost every day. So that just made me feel bad.
Made you feel bad? Did you say anything and tell the guy to stop, or you did? So, bullying it just isn't exactly just pushing somebody around, but it can also be mental too. I mean, a lot of times people will say something about someone that can hurt their feelings. It doesn't necessarily have to be picking fights with them. Anything that makes the person feel bad can easily hurt someone just as much as being physically hurt. Nowadays you have people that more and more kids have cell phones nowadays, and it's not just one person saying something to somebody. One person can say something to 30 people at a time now, and that can really hurt somebody, especially when they hear it from everyone around them. So today we're going to talk about some different ways that maybe we can try and help out someone who might be in this type of situation, because it's not a situation that any of us want to be in. In fact, even I was bullied when I was younger. I was bullied just because I was Hispanic in elementary school. I'll never forget it. Someone was always picking on me just because I was different from what he was. So, but it definitely, you always want to make sure there's a right way to handle bullying and a wrong way. You never want to try and combat bullying with fighting back. That can always be bad, especially if you're not ready for a fight. The other person can really hurt you, and we don't want anyone to get hurt. So, I was told that you might have some questions about bullying for me today.
Have you ever had to deal with any bullying problems, like at school or outside of school?
Well, I will say, bullying that you see in school, once you get out of school, it changes, but it really is kind of the same thing. No matter where you're at work or among friends in a social setting, it's always there. like I said, my story from when I was younger, just because I was Hispanic and I was different from someone else, people used to pick on me. Be name calling here and there, and it just over a period of time, it starts getting to you, and that's where bullying hurts. It's a very powerful thing. Words can kind of soak in, and once you hear the words, over and over again, person can even believe those type of words, and that can change just to someone, leading to someone being depressed. If someone is for example called fat over and over again, even though they may not be fat, they may be thinking about that, and in their mind all of a sudden that name calling becomes a reality, and that's where bullying can be very dangerous. As you get older, bullying just kind of shifts form. It's still there. It may not be the type of name calling that you see in elementary school or soon to be middle school, but it's there. It never really truly goes away. And that's why we need strong people to be out there to make sure to speak up for people that are in that type of situation, so we can try and help put an end to it.
My friend is getting bullied. The teacher won't help. So, what should my friend do?
What was said to the kid first, and then what did you guys tell the teacher?
Like a few weeks ago, like someone keeps on like biting this dude, my friend, and he always, every time he sees me, he always comes to me about it. It's like the same person, so they're friends, not friends. And sometimes this dude get in trouble, but not often. Even though he should get in trouble. So.
And what did you tell the teacher when you told the teacher what was going on?
Well, he's not in my class, so I don't really see it. I just hear it from my friends.
Did you have a good relationship with your teacher? You think maybe that's something you could tell your teacher about, to talk to the other teacher and try and maybe see if they can try and help the problem? Also, I know you say you don't always see it because you guys are in different classes, but if you were to see something like that, sometimes it just takes one person to tell a person, hey, I don't think you should be doing that. And that goes a long way, because the people that are the ones that like to bully people aren't usually, they're not accustomed to people actually telling them to stop, because they feel they can get away with it. Is the reason why a lot of these people continue. They feel no one's going to say anything to them, especially not the person they're picking on. That's why they're picking on that person, because in their mind, they feel they can get away with it. Sometimes it just takes a strong voice to come out and say, you know what, I think what you're doing is wrong, and I feel you need to stop. And if you don't stop, I'm going to go to the teacher and tell them what's going on. And I know the teacher will do something about it. Sometimes all it takes is that one strong voice to try and help change the situation. And that's also called being a good friend, too. And it sounds like you're definitely a good friend, being there to just help listen to your friend in that type of situation. So.
Now, I have a friend. She's like the closest friend I have. So I try to help her out when she has problems. And there's this mean girl in our class. One time, she said something extremely rude about her. And I try to say, Melanie, you need to stand up for yourself, but she just says like, nah, I'm okay.
See, sometimes hearing a good friend like you stand up for her goes a long way. Like I said, that person, this mean girl in the class, is probably targeting someone that they know isn't going to say anything. But maybe they're just afraid to say something. But if you, as the friend, comes in, just like in the situation I just mentioned with Chris, and say, hey, listen, you need to stop. She's my friend, and I'm not going to tolerate it. Something so simple as that can work both ways. One, towards the bully, to say, hey, you know what? I didn't think anyone actually was going to say anything. You know what? Maybe you're right. What I am doing is wrong. And at the same time, it helps your friend saying, wow, I have a really good friend that's going to stand up for me. And maybe I should follow what she's doing too. It can work both ways, against the bully and to try and take the bullying away, and to your friends to help bolster your friend up and make your friend stronger as well. And she'll appreciate the fact that you say something as well. So,
Why do people think that they can always get away with bullying?
I'll answer that question, not just in bullying, but in a lot of things. A lot of people think they can get away with things because they think no one's ever going to stop them. They think they can always get away with doing something. It goes the same way with rule breaking. If you get away with the rule and you think you can get away with it, that person's probably going to keep breaking the rule because they think there's no consequence, nothing will ever happen to them. Translate back to bullying, if they can keep making fun of somebody, if they can keep pushing somebody and nothing ever happens to them, in their mind, hey, I'm on a roll, I can keep doing this, I got it. No one's going to say anything to me. And that's why people do it. Like I said, all it takes is one strong voice, one person to say, hey, I'm not going to allow you to do this to my friend. I'm going to take a stand. That goes a long way for somebody. Right now, it's usually that one person that maybe they don't have any discipline anywhere else in their life. They're the ones who get away with things at home, and because they get away with things at home, they bring it to school, and they're getting away with it at school. They just have to run into a strong voice, and it'll go a long way. So, you guys have never been victims at all of bullying?
I mean, I had people be mean to me.
It's not ongoing. That says a lot about you guys, because at the same time, you guys, I don't think, would be the type that would stand up for something like that. You guys sound like you have strong voices and that you won't allow something like that to be tolerated. And because you guys have that ability, I think you guys should help your friends out. Be that strong voice for them, and it'll go a long way. The whole world just needs a couple of strong voices to change everything. There's a lot of things out there that could be fixed, but we're just waiting for one person to stand up and say something. So we have a great holiday coming up on Monday for about one person who was a very strong-willed voice. He stood up to a lot of change. You know what holiday is coming up on Monday?
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King stood up for a lot of people because he was the voice. The voice that a lot of people for years said, you know what, we can't speak up about something like that. But he was the voice. He said, he came out and said, I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I think this is wrong. We need to change it. And he did. So all it takes is one strong voice, one strong person like Dr. King, and a lot of change can happen. And that's what you guys need to do. You know, back to school and be that change. So, and all that can happen through a voice. Doesn't need to be fighting back. All that can happen through a voice. Words are very powerful. They just have to come from powerful people.
You got a question? So, what types of bullying are most, well, actually my question is, what types of people get bullied?
Well, it can be anybody. The type that allow it to persist are the ones that start to believe what the bully says. Once you start to believe the stuff that someone says about you, your mind becomes very powerful. If going back to say that someone's calling you overweight or someone's calling you fat, like I said, you may not be, but when you start hearing that day in, day out, all you hear is I'm fat. That's what you're going to start to see. The mind is very powerful, both in positive and in negative ways. That goes back to how you guys, in a positive way, if you say, hey, I can be the change, you can be the change. And going to the flip side, if you're a victim of bullying and you just hear all this bad stuff about you, like you've got a big nose, day in, day out, you hear that over and over and over again with nobody standing up to stop that from coming into your ears, you're going to start to believe stuff like that. And honestly, it's just the person that allows it to keep going. Now, I'm not putting any blame on that person. Maybe they just don't know any better, And that's why they need a strong voice for like you guys to step in and help change that. So it's just someone who doesn't know they can speak out.
I was in school suspension for a fight that I really didn't want to get into.
And what happened with that? How'd the fight start? Was it over a bullying situation?
I asked her nicely if I could use the paint. Mm-hmm. She said no, too bad. And then got from there. And then we started physically putting our hands on each other.
Now, was that the only paint that was available at the time?
Yes.
It was? So, I mean, if you ask nicely and someone says no, sometimes it's on them. And some people don't always know the value sharing, However, it's just like when you get older and you get out in the real world, if someone has something and they're not going to let you use it, don't push the issue sometimes. So, there's always a way to handle the situation without having to push back. So, words are a very powerful thing. In my job as a police officer, I can handle a lot of situations just by talking. I mean, there are some people who may bring a fight into the situation, but I know I can always go into a situation with my plan of trying to talk my way out of a situation. If anything happens, it's going to be on them. It's not going to be because I started it. I'm going to do everything I can to try and talk and help diffuse the situation instead of bring a situation into a fight. So that's the same way. There's always a way to talk about it. There's always a way. Any more questions? No? How was the food?
Awesome.
It was pretty good. You guys did a good job. So I'm about to try some of yours as well. Let's see how it goes. I know it smells amazing. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to have the good conversation today. You guys got a chance to learn something. So hopefully you guys can not only take what you know into the kitchen, but take what you know back into your schools and help talk to some other people and see if we can help put an end to bullying, at least in our corner of the world. All right?
Take a look at yourself. You wanna just break down. They say you're not a part of their crowd. Well, who are they to tell you what you're worth? Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell her that she's beautiful. Ooh, it's true.